the Dark Academy series, which is a young adult supernatural romance centered around a school which moves to different locations and countries throughout each semester, which is honestly the reason why I wanted them, which was the pull towards me. So I didn't even hear of the author before. I picked this up on a whim because obviously the blurb attracted me to it. And they're short stories, they're around like 300 pages long, 4 books in the series, and it kind of surprised me. Of course, it's supernatural, so it's a school filled with supernatural beings. Not vampires, as reviewers would suggest, but they're demons to me, so that's why I think that they're demons, because of the red eyes. And yeah, it's surprisingly impressed by the different stories that it took me on, considering all the different locations that each semester the school travels to, which made it different to me. Fallen by Lauren Kate, the perfect epitome for judging a book by its cover, because the cover is just very, very beautiful, including the sleeve and also the blurb of it. So instead of vampires, there are angels. So instead of vampires and werewolves, there are angels and demons. I don't know, it's an okay story, but yeah, I will delve into the other books, but that's it. I'm not going to delve into any more new ones that I will invest my time in. And the only draw for me was the cemetery within the school, which kind of made it different in a sense, but of course it's a similar plot, similar characters to Twilight, so it's just like generic, really, which is a shame because all authors do this now. Yeah. Vampire Lestat by Anne Weiss. It's my second read through, hence why it's got my bookmark in it. But I will include this in this review. It does count because I've already read it once, and this was more than a few years ago now. It's a lengthy read, but it's highly recommended to know about his backstory and to know how he came to be, and also a good starting point to the Queen of the Damned, and also maybe Interview with the Vampire. Though ironically, I haven't even read it yet. That's the only book that of hers of the Vampire Chronicles I haven't really read, which is ironic, that's what, I should have done. But again, this is a standalone, big book, so you can read it on its own. I highly recommend it, it's totally worth it. And if you want to know anything about Lestat, there's this book. Of course, there's another one called The Princess Lestat, which I have yet to read. It was one of her new ones, along with the Realms of Atlantis, so definitely highly recommended. I'm reading this at the same time as my other books in the list. Crave by Tracy Wolff, or Wolf. This is definitely better than Twilight. So much involved in it, and now I'm craving Crush. So this is going to be the last vampire romance I'm going to delve into, and it's recommended. Our Hideous Progeny by C.E. McGill. It's about a young woman's desire to search for her long-lost great uncle Victor Frankenstein's whereabouts. This is in 18th century, at the same time as pursuing her career in Scientology, just like Victor. And also she goes along with her husband, an inspiring geologist. And unfortunately I couldn't read all of it. It just was too long-winded for me, and it just got a bit tedious. Which is strange because even though this book was recommended to me, it has the headings to say that recommendation about from other publishers to say that is about Frankenstein, which essentially it is, but it's just so long-winded. It's mainly talking about Mary, which is Victor's great niece. Her life before she goes on to on the pursuit and search for Victor. And I did spoil it for myself. I know that she does manage to create the monster, but she destroys it in the end. So all the while, it's just trying to go through all of his papers and trying to uncover the secrets and his workings and his functionality. And I just couldn't get on with it. So it's thankfully I only took this out of the library because I wasn't sure whether I would buy it or not. So that is my little thoughts about it. I'm currently reading the Twilight Saga, which includes Breaking Dawn, at the same time as Crush, which I'm very much enjoying. I decided to read all of the Twilight Saga before I get my hands on the second book. Of course, I'll have differing opinions on all of them, but this is my favourite one. Of course, it has been a struggle reading them, but compared to my 15-year-old self, my adult self has kind of appreciated it more than how my mind was when I was like 15 when I first read the Twilight ones. Even before the movie came out, I bought the first two books before the Twilight movie potentially started. I remember getting my hands on Twilight, and it was something that I wasn't used to seeing as like between a vampire lover and a human girl, which I was very down for, and I was definitely very interested in, because mixture between vampires and falling in love with just a plain human girl is very, very intriguing to me. Rush, which is the second book in the Crave series by Tracy Wolff. It is set 4 months after Grace is turned into a gargoyle, so straight after Crave. I've gotten halfway and I'm in the part where Flint, the dragon, discovers that he's gay, that we know that he's gay, which is the one thing that shocked me in the book so far, and that he has a crush on Jackson. So the one thing, this is a spoiler, that is keeping me from reading is that I know that Hudson and Grace become a couple, and I'm just intrigued as to how they got there. I'm only halfway through, but I'm still enjoying it, and I didn't expect to write as much notes as I am doing already in my book journal. Almost finished. Haven't really finished it yet, but it's very good. It's very definitely more so adventurous than the second one. Um, since I've only got a little bit of ways to go, I think I might know what will happen at the end, but I'll keep you posted. So I read the book. A lot of things happen in it. Very much enjoyed it. So in the beginning, the crux of the beginning of it is that Grace tries to get Hudson out of her head, and eventually she does. And eventually she begins to fall in love with him, and Hudson does the same, because Hudson is different to Jackson, where Jackson just wants to protect her, but Hudson knows her inside and out from the past 6 months. So for that alone, yeah, she appreciates it more because she's all about him accepting her to be her own person. So, like I said before, a lot of things happen. They go on different ventures, different destinations they visit, different characters, monsters. So this is like the middle of the book, and then they get sent to this prison, and then eventually they get out with help. And Grace gets a tattoo which holds magic powers. She eventually gets to know her gargoyle a bit more, and she eventually finds out that she can heal others and also control the elements. So we also learn that Hudson is her true mate, not Jackson. And so the one thing I didn't like about it is that I wanted Jackson to remain like in an almost dead state, but in the end, Nuri, which is Flint's mother, who's a dragon, she kind of resurrects him, and I kind of wished that he just remained dead because it just, just reminds me too much of Twilight, where everyone lives and it's just not like reality, and it would make me like the book even more if like the beloved characters remained dead. So Grace eventually is like the one to rescue the unkillable beast, which we soon realise he is a gargoyle as well. So they can also telepathically communicate with each other. So she frees him, and he turns into back into his human. So he acts like a caveman, and so he reveals that to give the crown, it doesn't belong to Grace, it belongs to his mate. And then the book stops right there, and then there's also a Hudson's point of view, so that just like the last book and Crave, it goes on for a few pages, and it just goes back in time, back like a few months I think, or like a few weeks before the book started.